a sandy sand dune. Let's not go up there. Ah, yeah. Oh. Yes, just deep sand. Oh well. Alright, for those of you that know, I'm at Packsaddle. I've got the van parked out the back. It's the Packsaddle Hotel. The truck is right in front of it, pulled up. Packsaddle Roadhouse. So we're kind of halfway between Broken Hill and Timmerborough. We're up in the New South Wales corner country. I'm just going to go and do a little run, a bit of a loop, couple hundred kilometres up around Mount Arrowsmith, and then back to back around the back way to a place called the Veld. A little bit of sealed stuff to do before I get there, but I'm sure we can find something to talk about. Bit of a lookout up here, we might call into that, and I'll bring you up to speed with our early explorers. Yeah, it's a bit of a sandy sand dune. Let's not go up there. Ah, yeah. Oh. Yes, just deep sand. The last time we had anything to do with Charles Sturt was when he was at Burke. But you can imagine sitting around the campfire, you know, out near Burke, and they were in country like this. You remember I took you up to Mount Oxley and the kind of country they were in, and you imagine them sitting around the campfire at night comparing notes, and like we do as adventure riders. We talk about the rides that we've been on, we talk about the trips that we've had and the fun that we've had and the experiences and the things that we've done, and here's this track, you should go there, try this, do that. And as adventure riders, we sit around the campfire, and I'm sure everybody does it to a certain extent. Certainly all through history, stories have been exchanged around the campfire. But you can imagine Charles Sturt and Hamilton Hume sitting around the campfire, and Hume's telling him about the Murray River, this vast network of water, this majestic river that they had to cross to get down to Geelong. And the very next year, so they were sitting out in the desert there in 1828, 1829. They left in November and they came back in February. In November of the following year, so 1829, Charles Sturt got in a boat and he went down the Murray River, he went down the Murrumbidgee River. He actually invited Hamilton Hume to go with him, but Hamilton was then, by that stage, had some crops planted and he had harvest time, so he couldn't go. And I think once he read the journal, he's probably gone, oh, phew, missed a bullet, dodged a bullet then. But Charles Sturt put a boat in the Murrumbidgee River, and they followed it all the way down to the Murray River, and then the Murray River they followed it all the way down, and at one point what is now Wentworth, south of Broken Hill and on the Murray River at near Mildura, a small town called Wentworth, is where the Darling River joins the Murray. And as soon as he saw the waters of the Darling flowing into the Murray River, he's gone, that has to be the Darling River, it has to be. So they rowed upstream for a while and they followed the direction heading north, and he was so convinced it was the Darling River that they turned around and went back down, and they eventually rowed all the way downstream to Murray Bridge, what's now Murray Bridge. Couldn't get through, couldn't find a way, there was no passing ships, and so the only alternative for them was to row back up. And it's an incredible story of endurance. I mean, they rowed 1,500 kilometres upstream in a fast, just, crazy. One of the guys actually went mad for one of the days. They had to kind of tie him up and chuck him in the back of the boat because he just went mad from rowing so much, and the pain and the exertion. They were hard men. Anyway, if anyone's ever been to the Murray River, just sit and watch, and that current's quite hard, and it's a strong current, and these guys rowed upstream for 1,500 kilometres. Anyway, about that, so they came back in 1830. They got back to Sydney. In 1836, a fellow by the name of Thomas Mitchell came out, and he wanted to disprove, we know him as Major Mitchell, fantastic explorer. He was a very angry Scotsman. He didn't take kindly to the Aborigines, and he was pretty ruthless, and in fact engaged quite often in conflict. Unlike Charles Sturt, who understood, because he'd spent time with Hamilton Hume, he understood how to get along and communicate, and so we come in peace and all that, and so he really understood the Aboriginals. But this red-headed Scotsman was angry, and I think on his first trip out to near Burke, where he lost the 2/3 of his men, like 2 out of every 3 guys that were with him died from conflict with Aboriginals, because although they were the natives, they were pretty accurate with their boomerangs and spears, and there was so everywhere he went, every time he had 4 expeditions, and each time he lost a lot of men by having conflicts with the Aborigines. Anyway, he came out to the Darling River, and he was sure that there must be more waterways further west out there. He was convinced that there was more waterways out there that must flow into a western sea, because the land in Australia, it flows into the centre. It's depressed is the word they use, not in the way that we talk about it today, but there's a depression in the centre of Australia, and they suspected that all the water would flow down to that. He got over the Darling River, and he went a fair way west of it, probably out to about here, and he went, they can't see any more rivers. And they'd sit up on hills like this. They'd look out and they go, there's nothing there. So he gave up his search. That was 1836. It wasn't until 1844 that Charles Sturt came back out, and he wrote in his journal,
"Certainly it is most desirable to ascertain whether the river I have supposed to be the Darling be really so or not. I have stated my objection to depots, but I think that if a party commenced its operations up the Murray from the junction upwards, and, after ascertaining the fact of its ultimate course, turned away to the northwest up one of the tributaries of the Murray, with a supply of 6 months' provisions, the results would be of the most satisfactory kind, and the features of the country be wholly developed. I cannot, I think, conclude this work better than by expressing a hope that the colonial government will direct such measures to be adopted as may be necessary for the extension of our geographical knowledge in Australia. The facilities of fitting out expeditions in New South Wales render the expenses of little moment, when compared with the importance of the object in view, and although I am labouring under the effects of former attempts, yet would I willingly give such assistance as I could carry such an object into effect."
Yep, that's the voice of Charles Sturt. I went through some old historical recordings, and No, thanks, Andy Thomas, for the voice of Charles Sturt in that, so I appreciate you doing that, mate. But Charles Sturt wanted to come back up and he wanted to finish off what he'd started. And he said, if you're going to do an expedition into the centre of Australia, into the interior, then you need to leave from Adelaide and you need to come up the Murray River up to the Darling Junction, and you need to go inland from there because there's water in the Murray and we could always come back to that. That was his thing. He needed to be able to go back to water. So he came up here. Charles Sturt, he came up this way through this country with his sheep and his horses and his men and his boat. He was looking for that inland sea. Hey, to be fair, when I first went to Tibooburra, we'll be in Tibooburra in a couple of days. When I first went to Tibooburra and I saw that boat, a replica of his whaling boat up on top of the posts. You know, there's a saying in Australian called mad dogs and Englishmen. Only mad dogs and Englishmen go out into the Australian summer. And he came out here in the middle of summer. They actually got trapped out here. And I'll tell the story as we get closer up to Milparinka. He got stuck out here for 14 months. They had to spend a winter and a summer out here, and it got up over 60 degrees, and they survived, and they only lost one guy, and his grave is further north up here, and we'll go up there. So over the next couple of days, what we'll do is we'll go up to the gravesite of Mr. Poole, who was his offsider, and it was the death of Mr. Poole that we get introduced to this fella called John Sturt. And we're going to then go into South Australia over the coming weeks and months if we can get in because the borders are shut, and have a look at all the explorations that he did up through South Australia. But he came on this expedition. John Sturt came on this expedition with Charles Sturt, and he was the surveyor for this trip. But we'll get to that. We'll get an understanding of John Sturt as we get closer to it. But for now, let's go and have a look at this countryside that Charles Sturt had to walk through with all his gear. So we're just going to go for a bit of a ride through that country today, and we're going to I'll just show you some of that. I've not been on these roads before, and if my luck holds and I pay a bit more attention, I won't drop the bike again. So the road from Broken Hill to Tilpa is now completely sealed all the way, which is why I'm taking the caravan up. In terms of adventure riding, it's a good road to get you to Tibooburra. But if you have a look on a map, there's actually plenty of other good roads. And we're going to go on one of them right now, Mount Arrowsmith Road. That's the turn off up there, but there's obviously a shortcut for the locals. Alright, I'm just going to take it really, really easy. So I've got my bacon with me, and I even told the lady at Packsaddle when I was talking to her and I got fuel, and I said, what time dinner? She said 6:30. I said, right, I'll be back by then. If I'm not, this is the route that I'm going on. So fortunately, there's a whole heap of SES guys staying there, so I'll be right. I'll be back by 6:30, but I'm riding by myself, and particularly after the last couple of incidents with Anthony, and then just kind of early this week with Chad, it just doesn't take much, and particularly Chad and Gavin. I don't know what Tony's riding history is, but Chad and Gavin have been riding dirt bikes and adventure bikes for continuously for the last 20 odd years, so they're not inexperienced, and they had their GPS, they had the mini, I think it was the InReach Mini. They had first aid kit, and they were well prepared, so I'm just not going to take any risks. There's a couple of reasons. One, I've had my fair share of motorcycle crashes, and I'm a little averse to pain, so I'm happy to avoid it. The other thing is, it's just the complications of actually having the caravan in the car. Like, for example, I don't even like talking about it, but if something happened to me here and I had a major accident and they flew me to Adelaide, then that would mean that all my possessions, not all my worldly possessions, but all the van and the car and everything would be stuck here at Packsaddle, and I'd have to get back to it. So it just complicates things. I know, having crashes on motorbikes gets lots of hits, but here just to explore the countryside. Kind of a little bit west at the moment, but the road that we're on will swing around to the south. We've got quite a bit of northwesterly riding to do yet, so direct straight into the sun, but the road will turn more south and takes back down to the other side of Packsaddle, and we'll have to go back up to close the loop. So I hope there's not too many of these. Gates are no fun when you're by yourself. So, sink in. Leave them as you find them. I just turned the camera off and another gate. Open gate, good. I do like an open gate. And I just caught up ahead a car. So it'll probably be coming up on some dust soon. Well, assuming I'll catch him. Well, there he is. Well, you can't see. I look back at the footage sometimes. Oh, hang on. I look back at the footage when I'm trying to describe something to you or explain it, and you can't see a thing. Like, it's such a small speck off in the distance, there's nothing there. So I sometimes don't use that footage to go, oh, okay, talking about nothing there. But there's definitely a car in front of us, so we're catching up on it. Look at this deep sand on top of the ridge. just came across another gate. The guy in the car, that the farmer, he left the gate open for him, and had a bit of a chat. And he said, look, you go ahead and open all the gates and I'll close them all. I went, okay, fantastic. So, it takes care of 50% of the dramas. Good country though. Ah! Going down to the... I was going down through the gears so fast I chucked it into neutral. And then when I went to get some power there was nothing there. Grr. Yeah, he just pulled up to make sure I was okay. I just stopped to change the batteries because the countryside is just spectacular this time of day. I am fighting the sun. I'd love to throw the drone up, but I might come out tomorrow in the cruiser. Still got about 80 k's to go. Been a couple of fairly hairy moments in this mud, and I haven't had the camera on for that. Oh, all right. You'll get this one. I'll shut it. I'm just going to leave the camera running. Pick up some of this countryside. It'll be dark in about 20 minutes, or the sun will go down in about 20 minutes. So I won't be back by then. Get back to the Sealed, I should be right. I don't want to be riding through this stuff at night. The wildflowers come out after the rain. Bar Road. 164 k's to Broken Hill from here. I didn't actually see what the other side says going the other way. What's this red dirt? It's nice only having to do half the job. Alright, hopefully that'll be the last one. I think the highway's not far away. you have to be really careful on the highway because this is the animals own the road, and cows. There's a lot of goats here, a lot of feral pigs. That'll own the roos, as well as camels. There's camels out here too. Guy. Thanks, mate. Enjoy your afternoon. Yeah. See ya. Silver City Highway. I've got about 16 k's to go to get back, maybe 18. Anyway, that's it, folks. I'll close the video off there. But, thanks for coming along. Don't forget. Don't forget. Hit like and subscribe if you've not already done so. And thanks for all the new subscribers lately too, so appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying the trip. At least I can still ride. Just shout out to all you Victorian fellas and girls. I know there are some lady big bikers out there. The ladies. Anyway, that's it. Take it easy, and if anything exciting happens between here and Packsaddle, I'll let you know. Over and out.